Welcome to Neural Nectar, your brain on optimization. Today we are dismantling the most annoying myth in productivity, the 5 a.m. club.
It really is, isn't it? It's probably the most destructive piece of advice from modern hustle culture.
Absolutely. We've all seen it. The gurus on social media, the books, they all frame it as the only way to win.
And if you can't do it, the implication is that you're lazy
Right.
or, you lack discipline.
Exactly. It puts this enormous pressure on people whose biology just isn't wired for waking up at dawn. So today, we're here to give you the scientific permission you need to just reject it.
Right. Our mission in this deep dive is to look at the hard science. The sources prove that forcing an early schedule, especially when it fights your biology, it's
Actively harmful.
harmful. How? It hurts your health, it damages your cognitive function. The core finding is simple. High performance doesn't come from a 5 a.m. alarm, it comes from synchronization.
Okay, let's just get right into that. Is being a morning person a lark? Is that a choice? Or is it something much, much deeper?
Oh, it's fundamentally coded. We have to start with the circadian rhythm. It's the master system that dictates everything, your sleep, your hormones.
That's everything. So there's a master clock in my brain running the show.
There is. It's a master pacemaker, technically.
What do scientists call it? It sounds like something from a sci-fi movie.
It does. It's in a tiny part of the hypothalamus called the suprachiasmatic nuclei. We can just call it the SCN.
Okay, SCN.
And this SCN, it generates your body's own internal day. The length of that day is called tau.
Whoa, okay, hold on. SCN, tau. This is getting pretty technical. What does knowing my personal tau actually tell me about my life?
It tells you your chronotype. You know, whether you're a morning person or an evening person, it's all strongly influenced by how long your internal day is.
So if my clock runs a little fast, I'm a morning person.
Exactly. And if it runs a little longer than 24 hours, you're probably a night person, an owl.
So it's not a choice. It's my core clock speed. And I'm guessing this is tied to genetics.
Absolutely. It goes right down to the genetic level. There's a family of genes called the PER genes, or PER for short. And one of them is the absolute star of the show here.
Which one is that?
It's called the PER3 gene.
And what's so special about PER3?
It has a length variation, a polymorphism. Basically, a part of the gene is made of either 4 repeating units or 5 repeating units.
And that one little difference that decides if I'm a morning or evening person.
It has a huge correlation. Get this. The longer one, the 5 repeat allele, is significantly higher in the morning preference group.
Okay. And the shorter one.
The shorter 4 repeat allele is way higher in the evening preference group, a frequency of 0.76. I mean, that's a massive difference.
So if you're a serious night person, what they call a wolf chronotype, you're just overwhelmingly likely to have that shorter version of the gene.
Your DNA is basically shouting it. In fact, the correlation is so strong that the 4 repeat allele is the genetic signature for delayed sleep phase syndrome, or DSPS.
What's the number on that?
Our sources say an incredible 75% of DSPS patients had 2 copies of that 4 repeat allele.
75%. So for 3/4 of the people who just can't fall asleep before 2 a.m., it's literally in their genes.
That's the genetic lottery right there. You don't choose your chronotype any more than you choose your height.
So forcing yourself to wake up at 5 a.m. isn't discipline.
Yeah.
It's just fighting your own blueprint.
Yeah.
And that sounds not just futile, but actually harmful.
It is actively harmful. Which brings us to the real biological cost.
Right. This is what Till Reunerberg and his colleagues called social jet lag.
Social jet lag. It's such a brilliant term because it's something we can actually measure. It's the gap, right? The misalignment between your biological sleep time and your forced social schedule.
Okay, so give me an example. If I naturally fall asleep at 1:30 a.m. and wake up at 9:30 a.m. on a Saturday.
Then your biological mid-sleep point is 5:30 a.m.
But if my job forces me to wake up at 6 a.m. and I can't get to sleep till midnight, my work mid-sleep is 3 a.m.
You got it. And that 2.5-hour difference, that's your social jet lag score. And the late chronotypes, the owls, they have the biggest scores. They build up this huge sleep debt all week.
And then they try to pay it back on the weekend by sleeping in like crazy. I know that feeling.
It's the classic sign. For 5 days a week, your body is effectively living in a different time zone than your alarm clock.
So it's like flying from New York to California and back every single week.
That's the perfect analogy, and the biological damage is just as real. It is not a low-grade problem.
Okay, let's dive into that. The physiological damage.
Yeah.
Because this is where the whole 5 a.m. myth just completely falls apart.
Exactly. And we're not just talking about feeling tired. Researchers simulated this in a lab with healthy adults. They controlled for diet, exercise, everything. The only variable was the clock misalignment.
And what happened? Let's start with stress, that fight or flight response.
Your body goes into panic mode. It knows it's supposed to be resting. What they found was a massive spike in stress hormones.
How massive?
An 82% increase in the urinary epinephrine excretion rate during their sleep opportunities.
Wait, 82%? Epinephrine is adrenaline.
Mhm.
You're saying your body is flooded with 82% more adrenaline while you're trying to sleep.
That's what the data shows. You're not being disciplined by waking up early. You're just inducing a state of chronic stress and high anxiety.
It's just a stress trap.
It's a constant stress trap, and that cascades directly into your cardiovascular system.
So let's talk about blood pressure. What's the impact there?
The misalignment increased 24-hour systolic blood pressure by 3.0 mmHg and diastolic by 1.5.
Okay, 3 millimeters of mercury. To a layperson, that sounds small. Is that a big deal?
It's a very big deal. That's the kind of change doctors try to achieve with blood pressure medication, but in the opposite direction. It's real vascular pressure.
Wow.
But here's the crucial part. The damage wasn't spread evenly across the day.
It was worse during the sleep period, wasn't it?
It was almost entirely driven by an increase in blood pressure while they were trying to sleep. Systolic went up by 5.6 mmHg. It also reduced the normal healthy dip in blood pressure during sleep by 21%.
And that's dangerous. I've heard that. Why is the lack of a dip so bad?
It means your cardiovascular system never ever gets a rest. Reduced dipping is an independent predictor of, heart attacks, stroke, mortality.
So this is direct physical damage caused by fighting your own clock. What about inflammation?
Same story. The misalignment caused a measurable jump in key inflammatory markers. IL-6 went up 15%. Others like C-reactive protein, TNF-alpha, they all went up too.
So these are the markers of stress and chronic disease we're always hearing about.
Exactly. Linked to cardiovascular disease, diabetes, you name it. The forced wake-up is creating a body-wide inflammatory response. It's a recipe for getting sick long-term.
And the psychological toll must be just as bad.
It is. The late chronotypes reported feeling significantly more worn out. Just severe mental exhaustion, lower well-being, and higher rates of depressed mood.
And this hits younger people the hardest.
It does. The strongest link was in the 14 to 25-year-old group, which makes sense, with early school and work start times hitting them right when their biology is screaming to sleep in.
And it looks like they turn to other things to cope. I saw a really strong link with substance use.
A very strong link. Late chronotypes are significantly more likely to be smokers and to consume more alcohol. They're trying to self-medicate their social jet lag.
So here's the key question. Is it being a night owl that makes people smoke? Or is it the misalignment?
The sources are pretty clear that it's the misalignment, that social jet lag. Get this. The correlation between smoking and being a night owl completely vanishes in retired people.
Because they're free to set their own schedule.
Precisely. The forced social clock is gone, and so is the coping mechanism. When you plot smoking against the degree of social jet lag, you see a direct, strong correlation. The bigger the gap, the more likely you are to smoke.
That is just incredibly validating. It's not a moral failure, it's a biological cry for help. Okay, so if fighting our clock is this damaging, what's the solution?
The solution is synchronization. It's
Yeah.
that simple. You have to optimize for your internal energy peaks, not some generic schedule from a guru.
So if my brain comes alive at 10 p.m., that's when I should do my deep work.
That is scientific optimization. That is not laziness. That is the most effective and healthiest path to high performance. Your biology dictates your prime time. Use it.
So we're really giving people permission to just embrace their natural rhythm.
The data screens for it. To recap, this forced misalignment, this social jet lag, causes measurable physical damage. We're talking hypertension, inflammation, and all the negative behavioral stuff like stimulant use and depressed mood.
It really is the ultimate productivity hack, isn't it? Just work with your body.
Yes. And here's a final provocative thought for you to chew on. The research also showed that circadian misalignment blunted the 24-hour rhythm of a protein called PAI1.
PAI1. What does that do?
It's involved in breaking down blood clots.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if its rhythm is blunted, your body's ability to manage something as critical as clotting is disrupted. It suggests your ability to prevent a life-threatening event is tied to your biological clock, no matter when you set your alarm.
So we could be messing with our body's ability to prevent a stroke just by forcing a schedule that isn't ours. You have to wonder what other essential processes you're disrupting.
The science is clear. Synchronization is the only true form of discipline.
Stop looking at the clock. Start looking at your biology.